Hello everyone, I hope you're all okay and welcome to my channel. This week we're going to take a look at a case that happened in Sweden. Now there wasn't a great deal of information on this case and I have found some articles. I also had to translate some articles, so I do apologise if any of the information is wrong in this episode. I have tried my best to cross-check it numerous times to make sure everything is correct. Listener discretion is always advised with my channel, and my channel is not recommended for children. Wilma Andersson. She was 17 years old. Her mum Linda describes her daughter as a beautiful girl, full of life. She loved her friends, she loved social media. Wilma loved having her photo taken at any opportunity she got. She was a really creative girl, and she was a strong-minded girl. Wilma was 15 when she met her boyfriend, Tishka. Tishka Ahmed was older than Wilma by 5 years, but this didn't stop him. The age of consent in Sweden is 15. Tishka was born in Iraq, but came to live in Sweden when he was 8 years old. He lived with his father and stepmother. When he left school, he got a job working in the care sector. Tishka's friends said that at school he was bullied. But as he got older, he became more headstrong to the point that he just never backed down to anyone. Wilma lived with her sister Emily. Her mother and father, Linda and Marcus, divorced. It was said that the family had troubles, which led to Wilma not being able to live with her father and her mother not actually allowing her to stay with her. Linda wasn't happy about her daughter dating a 20-year-old, but she trusted her daughter. In 2018, Wilma and Tishka found a place of their own in Uddevalla in Sweden. Things started off perfect, but perfect, like we often hear of, didn't last. When Tishka became controlling in the relationship, even Linda recalls seeing her daughter's behaviour change. Wilma and Tishka had been together for 2 years. Wilma often confided in her sister Emily about their relationship. On the 14th of November 2019, Wilma had been speaking to her sister Emily on the phone. She opened up about wanting to end the relationship with Tishka. She said that she'd had enough of being told what to do all the time, about what to wear, where to go, what makeup to wear, who to speak to. Tishka was very controlling and abusive towards Wilma. Tishka returned home from work. Wilma said to her sister she's got to go. Emily tried to phone her sister back later on, but Wilma didn't pick up the phone. On the 15th of November, Wilma had a dentist appointment, but she never turned up for it. By the 17th of November, Wilma's parents went to Tishka's apartment. After knocking for some time, Tishka finally opened the door. Linda asked, "Where is Wilma gone?" She recalled thinking that Tishka may have been smoking because he looked slightly high and he wasn't in a talkative mood. But they wasn't going to leave without any answers. They wanted to know where their daughter was. He finally said that the relationship he was in with Wilma has ended and she's just left. She's taken everything she owned and she's gone. He said that he doesn't know where she's gone, but he just doesn't expect to speak to her anytime soon. They all go inside the apartment to chat a little bit more. Tishka explained that he got home at around 5:30 that evening from work, and he walked in the door, and as soon as he walked in the door, they had a massive argument, which led to Wilma walking out of the relationship. Wilma's parents weren't instantly worried, as Tishka and Wilma's relationship was on-off a lot of the time. This was mostly due to Tishka's behaviour towards Wilma. Emily decided to reach out to Facebook, and she created a post asking if anyone had seen her sister. She said that she's missing, and she's been missing since Thursday, and she is increasingly worried. No one has been able to get hold of Wilma on phone or social media. Friends and family are worried. Emily said that Wilma is 168 centimetres tall. She had dark hair with blonde highlights. It's not known what Wilma was wearing at the time of her disappearance. Emily says that this is totally unlike her sister. She was always keeping in regular contact with her, and she would just not answer her phone to her sister. Emily appealed to anyone and everyone who would listen. She said that if anyone had any information to come forward and either tell her or the police. The police filed a report and started to take statements from family and friends. Linda and Emily said that they haven't spoke to Wilma since the 14th of November and they've not been able to get hold of her. A search party was formed by the police. Friends and family joined the search. Police dogs were also brought in. The police used drones to help reach in places where they wasn't able to get to. The police went and talked to Tishka, and he stated that he doesn't know anything and he still hasn't heard anything from Wilma. Sunday the 17th of November, 3 days into the search, Wilma still hasn't made any contact with anyone. She was usually on social media, but this hasn't even been active. Now it's believed that around 5,000 people have now joined the search to help find Wilma. The police went back to Tishka and spoke to him again. He insisted that he still hasn't seen Wilma or heard from her and he doesn't know where she is. He tried to say that when she left him for another man, but there was no proof of this as nobody, friends and family, has not heard anything about this. Wilma's missing persons Facebook post has now been shared all over the internet. Wilma's family told the police that Wilma had gone downhill since she met her boyfriend. She just wasn't the same girl anymore. She used to be so outgoing, and this all stopped when she went out with Tishka. Linda said that Tishka wanted to know where she was at all times. Emily even said that her sister confided in her, stating that Tishka had been violent in the final months of their relationship. But even though this was all said, Wilma loved Tishka deeply. It was later found out that Tishka had put a GPS device on Wilma's phone so he could track her at any point of the day he wanted. In several text messages released to the press, you can see just how controlling he is. An earlier text message from a previous argument was released to the press. Wilma said to Tishka, "Contact me when you think you can trust me." Tishka replied, "Contact me when you know your place." The police decided to investigate Tishka's final movements. Tishka insisted that he hadn't left the apartment since he returned from work around 5 p.m. The police retraced his steps using the GPS on his phone. Tishka was seen on CCTV in a supermarket the day of the 14th at around 2:30 p.m. He was home from work by 5. The neighbours heard a very loud, aggressive argument between the two. This went on for some time. The neighbours were used to them arguing, as it happened frequently, but this argument was louder than normal. And one neighbour became so concerned that they decided to go round and knock on the door to see if everything was just okay. But as they walked closer to the apartment door, everything stopped. No one was arguing anymore. It was silent. Although this made the neighbour slightly uneasy, they actually just returned to their own apartment, and this was said to be around 6 p.m. With the police investigating Tishka's last movements, they decided to look into his work, and also the company car he used to make the calls to his client's home. They went to his work and requested his car for forensic testing. His work obliged. The GPS in the car indicated that he had gone from Thursday the 14th to Monday the 18th in this car. The car shows that he called round his client's home, but after this and in between the calls, he returned to his own home numerous times. This was throughout his workday. Tishka's phone also indicated on the day of the argument he had left his apartment around 6:30 p.m. Tishka was seen walking along the freeway. The motorcyclist that actually saw Tishka described him as looking very distant and wearing all black. It's believed that Tishka was picked up by the police and taken home. He was asked, "Why are you walking along the freeway?" Tishka explained that he was going to catch a train, but he decided to walk home. The police took a note of this, but actually didn't write an official report up, as the police had no record of this ever happening. Tishka was arrested on the 19th of November 2019. He had scratches on his forearms. The police searched his apartment. They found Wilma's bag and coat still hanging up. Linda later stated that her daughter wouldn't go anywhere without her bag. Forensics gets to work with Blue Star in the apartment. Now, this is the same as luminol, only supposed to be a better version of it and more effective. They find bloodstains all over the wall and a large area on the floor in the living room. With this find, they go through the whole apartment spraying Blue Star. They find bloodstains and splatter in every room. There was a bloodstain indicating something had been dragged throughout the apartment from the living room all the way to the bedroom. The bed lit up too from Blue Star, showing a shape of a torso on the bed. They also discovered muscle tissue found on a kitchen knife and on the wall in the living room. It was clear from the amount of blood found in the apartment that it was near on impossible to get up from these injuries. The police searched outside the apartment too, and they found inside the rubbish bags bedding that belonged to Tishka. There was blood stains all over it. They decide to visit Tishka at the police station, and they tell him what they found. They found a large amount of blood at his property, and whoever cleaned it up did a good job of not wanting to be discovered. Straight away, Tishka replied, "No, that's just not possible," he said. He said, "If there was a large amount of blood in the property at any time, I would know. I lived there." Meanwhile, the search continued outside, every day growing larger, with people wanting to help find Wilma. During this search, several items were found. This was believed to belong to Wilma. A crime scene was set up at the apartment. Wilma was missing. No contact has still been made. The 28th of November, 9 days after Wilma had been last seen or heard from. Cadaver dogs were brought in to help at the crime scene. As the dogs walked into the bedroom, they immediately indicated a deceased person or human remains had been in this area. There was also a distinctive smell coming from the apartment. Even though the police had already searched the apartment, the police continued to look in the bedroom. Where the dogs had marked the area, the officer walked over to the wardrobe. Inside the wardrobe was a small travel case. The case had been there the whole time, like many other items in the bedroom. The officers thought that this had been checked. They take the case out of the wardrobe and they open it up. Inside, they find a large object wrapped in aluminium kitchen foil. There was also bloodstains found inside the case. The small case was sent to Gothenburg forensic labs for testing. Inside the case, they discover Wilma had been decapitated and her severed head was wrapped in foil and tape. On closer inspection, they found Tishka's fingerprints on the foil and the tape. Also found at the crime scene, where the rubbish bags were located, they also discovered a footprint found with Wilma's blood. The footprint matched Tishka. The pathologist states that although she can't provide a cause of death for Wilma, Wilma had a blunt force trauma to the head and eye socket. Further injuries to her head was caused by the decapitation. Wilma's family was informed of what happened to their daughter. Linda joined the search party. They were no longer searching for a missing person. They were now searching for the rest of Wilma's body. Wilma's family had to endure the gruesome details of what had happened to her. From the evidence at the apartment, it's believed that the murder had taken place in the living room while she was either sitting on the floor or laying. Wilma would have been struck with such a force to her head. Also, there was no official cause of death, but the police believe Wilma died in that living room. Muscle tissue was found on the wall. Her body was then dragged out of the living room into the hallway. It's believed that Wilma was then taken into the bathroom. It's unknown if she was dismembered in that room. Then Wilma's body was taken from the bathroom, through the hall and into the bedroom, where she was placed on the bed. Wilma's body has never been found. Throughout the court hearing, Tishka showed no remorse at all. Wilma's family begged him to say where he'd put her body. He just looked at him in cold blood and stuck his finger up at him. The pathologist report conducted an assessment on Tishka's mental health, and it was said that he was perfectly sane at the time of the murder and the trial. July the 27th, Tishka Ahmed stood in front of the judge. The judge passed sentence. He was found guilty of the murder of Wilma. He was also found guilty of desecrating a corpse. Tishka was sentenced to life in prison and was able to apply for parole after 10 years. Tishka has always said that he is innocent, and later appealed his conviction at the Court of Appeal. Now, the district court had sentenced Wilma's ex-boyfriend to life imprisonment for the murder of Wilma, but the Court of Appeal reduced his sentence to 18 years. The Court of Appeal justified the reduction by stating that no exact cause of death or cause of events could prove due to the body being missing. Wilma's funeral was held late 2020. Thank you all so much for listening to today's episode. I hope you all have a wonderful, happy, healthy, safe week ahead of you, and I will see you all again soon. Much love, Lindsay.